Good evening. We're going to call the meeting to order. Welcome to the March 7, 2017 Brunswick County Board of Education meeting. We're going to start with the invocation by Ms. Milligan and then have presentation of the colors and the pledge led by Cadet Captain Johnston of the North Brunswick ROTC. So please stand.
Father God, we come before you tonight to give thanks for all that you've done for us this week and every week. We give thanks for your allowing us to have a hand in what's happening with the students of Brunswick County Schools, and we are very grateful. We ask that you will continue to lead us and guide us in the ways that will benefit them the most, for they are our future. We thank you for all the blessings you've given us, and we say these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
March on. March. Color guard. Hold. Order. Colors. Left face. Carry. Colors. Present. Colors. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Colors. Order. Colors. Right face. Drill. Colors. Forward. March.
Please be seated. First, we have public address. I'm going to call on Mr. Stuart Smith. Mr. Smith.
Thank you. I wanted to appreciate meeting with the chairman of the school board as well as all of you here, and wanted to just take a couple of minutes of your time to, I think the Board of Elections is particularly concerned with trying to avoid problems from occurring. During the past 14 years that I've been involved in this, we've had 3 extremely serious problems occur at the polls. Some time ago, we had a voter leaving the polls and was a highway patrolman, in fact, who unfortunately was killed as he went across the street from leaving the polls. Gives you an idea just how easy it is for these things to happen. Several years ago, 2014 primary, we had a problem at Town Creek that prevented made it difficult for voters to vote from about 6:30 until a little after 9. It absolutely prevented handicapped voters from voting at all during that time period. They couldn't do it. In the last primary at Belleville Elementary, from probably 2 o'clock until 4:30, we had a problem. Again, handicapped voters were not able to vote at all, and the regular voters had a problem. Sometimes they got discouraged and left. In other cases, they parked across 133 in the Belleville Park and had to walk across. Those are extremely serious problems that we'd like to avoid. In addition, during an election when we have voters there, I know that you all are extremely concerned. I want to give you that, we received an email with some photographs on the problem at Belleville Elementary that you might like to see. We got a lot of response on that problem, which fortunately didn't escalate any further than us, but certainly could have. The last one, though, is security, and you know, you all are extremely concerned with security in this time, and keep things pretty tight at the schools. However, during an election, we have a large number of voters coming to the school. We have people campaigning at the school, so there's quite a bit of extra traffic there that's interacting with the students, which is potentially a security problem. And so we'd like to try to come up with a solution that avoids those kinds of problems. I think it's clear to me, at least, that they'll continue to occur just because that's human nature. You know, it's going to happen again if we don't have a better solution than we've had in the past. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to try to answer those questions. Otherwise, we appreciate your consideration on an improved solution.
Mr. Chair, I work real close with Sarah every election,
Yeah.
municipal, county.
You all do a great job.
Job, and y'all do the best you can do, and I definitely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of new buildings going on in Leland, new senior centers. I know you are continuously looking for other locations.
We you know, it's a continual challenge. I know you all campaign, so you've seen our facilities, and a lot of them are very poor. We are expecting to lose 2 in a short time now, which is going to continue to cause us a problem. We tried to move out of Leland Middle School. The state didn't allow us to this time. We may succeed in that in the future, but as the county grows, we see 2 things happening. We see more opportunities for some things. The county does senior centers and things that may help us, but schools are centrally located, and so I think it's certainly reasonable to expect that down the road we may see more use of schools. I mean, that's, you know, your guesses on that's as good as mine. It's just, we have terrible locations for polling, and we continually struggle with that.
Mhm.
Schools, though, are, particularly Belleville Elementary, that's our most efficient operation.
And that's probably your biggest precinct right
It's
now.
it's about twice the size of any of the others.
Yeah.
And it's been divided.
But
It's been divided over the past several years.
we
You now
split
have
it three ways.
Yeah.
We tried to recombine Belleville 2 and 3. The state said that's too many people, you know, the wait time would be too long. We have way more than that in Belleville 1. The wait time during the primary last year was 8 minutes. So if we have the space, if we have the parking,
You
we can
vote.
keep voters moving. I mean, we can
Um,
handle a lot of people.
How many registered voters are in Belleville? Approximately
Nearly 9,000,
9,000, and that's after the split, and before that it was
Yeah.
what, 13, 14,000?
yes.
Yeah.
A lot of voters, and those of you familiar with the Belleville area, John and I happen to live there. There isn't any other place.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's the only choice.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're picking on the schools
Oh,
or
no,
something, you
no.
know, it's just tough, and we both have a problem that would need to.
And that's a
We're trying
lot
to
of
make
traffic. I
sure-
mean, if you got 9,000 voters trying to get out of there and 1,000 parents and buses and,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a nightmare for
It
any.
is.
Yeah.
Well, those
Everybody.
photographs tell a pretty good story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I
One point I'd like to make is you don't get to choose the days that you have to work, do you?
No. It would be nice if we did.
But election days nationally are always predictably, was it first Tuesday in
It's
November?
the first Tuesday after the first Monday in
Oh, okay.
November,
Okay.
always. That's, I
Yeah.
think that's probably federal law.
As far as voter turnout, of course, one of the things that you told us last year when you visited with our committee, you came to our operations committee, you told us to expect that we, over time, we would end up needing to surrender more of our schools. And the Board of Elections, of course, has the authority to just take the schools and use them. as they
Yeah.
see fit.
You know, we try to be nice about these things. We try. The problem sometimes is we don't have a choice.
I understand.
And as I think some people don't recognize is the fact that the turnout on election day for a municipal election is very close to the turnout on a
That was my next question. Yeah.
federal general election.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is the early voting, we move a lot of people away from election day. So I think Sarah
Absolutely.
ran the numbers and I think we're projecting maybe 1,050 voters voted in the general election the last time Belleville won, and we're projecting, I think, 950 for this municipal election. So about 10% fewer. Not a whole lot, you know. It's I think we normally think of municipals as
Well,
low
that's
turnout.
in the actual municipal election, but I would expect the odd year, even year primary following a presidential year, like in the spring this coming year, for example, that primary would probably have a very low turnout. Are you seeing
Well,
primaries low turnouts in general?
I looked at the numbers, John, for 2014 and 2012, and I think the turnout for 14 was 14% of the eligible voters, and it was 15% 2 years before that. So,
Wow.
but it's hard to tell. You know, if there's something hot that people are upset about, we may get a lot of voters. You know, if people aren't that concerned, you know, you try to guess on these things. You know, we had H2Go 2 years ago that certainly one precinct with a huge turnout, way more than we predicted. The others didn't. That may still be an issue. I don't know. You know, we try to guess on these things, John, but and normally Sarah does an outstanding job of guessing, but and our projection right now, like I said, it's about 950, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, for both for the upcoming November election and then the spring at Belleville Elementary, we just keep using that because it's our largest school and our largest precinct, just under 900 expected to show up election day. So the turnout on election day is really kind of uniform.
Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Smith.
Appreciate your
We have to deal with the calendar a little bit later on. At this time, we'll move to the presentations. Teacher's Voice, Ms. Sharp.
Hello. We always begin our TAC meetings every month recognizing what's right with our schools in Brunswick County, and I wanted to let you know a little bit about what we talk about. We want to say congratulations to Cedar Grove Middle School for winning the County Battle of the Books. The beginning teachers from Union, Waccamaw Early College, and Leland Middle School participated in a breakout session that was led by Keisha Dixon. They had a great time doing that. Supply hosted a Valentine lunch, and they had over 200 parents attend, so that's exceptional. Belleville recently hosted a sock hop at their school, and Bolivia Elementary held a college week for their students where they explored their future goals. Starbase recently was at Virginia Williamson, and the fifth graders learned how to launch rockets. The Jessie May had their ESL and their regular teachers working together to help parents with who have language barriers, basically to learn how to deal with social situations and to assist with their children with homework. All of the BCS sixth graders attended the movie Hidden Figures. We had a great time. This was a perfect connection between science standards and STEM and Black History Month. At Shallotte Middle School, the sixth grade math teachers have collaborated and joined together with the AIG teachers and the remediation teachers, and they created a lesson study cycle that explores strategies to help students improve their problem-solving skills. And they're actually watching each other teach and just collaborating on all the math efforts there. Also, at Shallotte Middle School, the AVID students are creating posters that they're going to display throughout the school to help kids who are struggling with study habits and or poor study habits to possibly, just encourage them to do better and to just to help them in all their educational endeavors. Holly Borden at Shallotte Middle School has started an after-school weightlifting club to 8th grade students who are serious about improving their overall fitness and wellness, and it's student-driven. So they completed an interest survey. They found faculty members that would help to donate their time. I am not one of them, but I'll support them. But they petitioned the principal for permission to have the club, and it's been very successful. So they also have started a running club there, and it meets 2 days a week. And students will participate in 2 community 5Ks this spring. And so these students are all showing desire to get into shape. We had a teacher at Shallotte Middle School, Terry Murphy, to help organize for Miss Gloria Bland to receive donations from the thrift store in Calabash. She picked up items for her daughter's home because it was lost in the last hurricane. So that was just an excellent effort. We thank the thrift store in Calabash and Miss Murphy for that. So, and also congratulations to all the teams that competed in the Science Olympiad and won. We're excited for them. Thank you.
Before you go,
You always catch me. Okay.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Oh,
but
gosh.
Yeah, he does.
With all the, I guess
Every chance he gets.
you knew that, right? But with all of the discussions taking place in Raleigh, the governor's budget, the General Assembly's proposed consideration of teacher raises and things like that, I'd like to get a sense from you what you and your colleagues are feeling about the future of teaching. There for a while it seemed like everything was kind of, why in the world did I get into this kind of thing? But are you feeling a little more optimism? Do you sense more optimism among you and your...
We're hopeful.
You're hopeful?
We're hopeful, definitely. I mean, I've been in this, we always say we do it for other reasons, of course. I have 2 children that are in middle school myself at my school, and of course I'm there for them, I'm there for all the kids, but we're hopeful that there is going to be some improvement in that area so that we can maintain our teachers and keep our teachers.
Well, it's not just about the money, though. I think a lot of times, of course, money is important because we all know we have to pay bills and things like that, but it's also, I think, some of the other things that create stress in a teacher's life. It concerns me sometimes with all the testing and all the various other, I guess, pressures that the classroom teacher has that distract them from their core mission of teaching. I'd like to hear sometime from you about things that we as a board can do to, I guess, reinforce or to provide stronger support for the classroom teachers, because, that's one of the things that we talk about frequently.
Well, and if you're going to do that, you might as well add the laborious things you have to do that teachers feel are unnecessary, that take time. And I'm sure there's many of those, and I know there is. So if you come back with let's hear about what you think is frivolous and unnecessary.
Yeah, don't be afraid. We're giving you a platform to speak to us directly, and
Okay.
We'd like to hear what your colleagues are thinking, because we definitely think a lot about them, and we discuss as much as we can what we can do as a board to support them. And unfortunately, our coffers kind of get poor by the time it gets down to raises and things like that. But we think about it, and we're considering different activities or actions that we might take. So anyway.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to do that next time.
Yeah.
Then. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll
So we
look forward to
enjoyed
hearing from
visiting
you.
with you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Today in class, Ms. Benton?
Mr. Chairman and Board and Mr. Tubb, thank you for the opportunity to present today in class. We have 2 videos that we will be watching. Our first is from Belleville Elementary. It is Mr. Chris Shepard and is one of our exceptional children's class.
Today in my EC classroom at Belleville Elementary School, we're working on individual education plan goals in large group and later on in small group rotations. During our small group activities, we use ABA, which is Applied Behavior Analysis, to teach explicitly every skill they're going to need in those bigger settings and to help generalize that on a greater level. We use that, there's years of research behind it. It's data driven, we track every goal to mastery and we don't move on until that's done. Our first station, it would be a computer station, and on that kids work independently, and we're focusing on learning websites, so they're doing math or reading, they're learning how to navigate the computer, how to use the mouse, which sometimes is a big struggle just to get that. After that, they move on to a one-on-one station, and that's where we track all our data for those IEP goals. And with that, when I say track data, we break down each step to completion and teach that one, and we don't move on until it's mastered. The kids move later to a reading station. They have a book read to them, or they read if they're able to do it, and this is where they answer their WH questions, the who, what, where. We have a couple working on how and why. It's a little bit more difficult, but they're getting there. The math rotation, again, we help generalize it, so they're practicing that stuff that they're working on the one-on-one station and maintaining it across settings.
Solar system.
What else?
Human body.
What else?
5 senses. The body parts.
What else?
Animals. A happy teacher.
You're saying Mr. Shepard is a happy teacher?
Yeah,
Why is he so happy?
because he likes me. He wants to make me work hard.
Good job at Circle. What's next?
Nothing. Next is Chris time.
Chris time. If you could see the growth that the kids have made, it's been amazing. Coming from not knowing their letters and sounds to kids are now reading and answering questions. It's really fun to watch. Ultimately, it ends up being way more gratifying because you stop seeing them for what they can't do and you start seeing them for what they are able to accomplish. And that's been the most rewarding part of it, is to see kids who come in and it's functional life skills class to start out with and have just beat odds after odds as far as math, reading, speaking, stuff I never thought we'd be able to accomplish in the classroom.
So in Mr. Shepard's video, you noticed that he talked about developing individualized education plans and setting goals for individualized students. And all those decisions were made on his data-driven information that he had collected through his assignments and work with the students. You also saw small group instruction as well as a one-on-one station where he actually worked one-on-one with each student. There's a continuous focus in his classroom on individual student growth and meeting the needs of all the students, but most importantly, you saw that there are strong relationships between him and every student in that classroom. So I am proud to present to you Mr. Chris Shepard from Belleville Elementary. We also have Dr. Rick Hessman, who is the principal at Belleville, with us as well. You can.
I really didn't come prepared to speak. I didn't have a problem talking on that, I guess. There was a lot of audio. But I appreciate the opportunity, appreciate the support.
Awesome job.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
We appreciate the work you do.
Our next video comes from Supply Elementary, and it is Miss Holly Sellers, and it is kindergarten.
Today in my kindergarten class, my children are working in literacy stations. These stations are differentiated based on their abilities and their levels. We have an interactive lunch where we come back to the classroom to eat our lunch, and it's interactive with the video. The children are learning to sound out words, and it's maximizing our instructional day. And also when they go to literacy stations, they're working on sounding out words that help them become better writers and better readers. In our literacy stations today, we're working on phonics and comprehension. We have work on writing, we have listening, We have sounding out words at our word workstation, and we're also working on comprehension at our reading station. I chose these based on their ability level in the classroom. With the literacy stations, we're working on the phonics and comprehension, and also during their working lunch, they're working on the phonemic awareness by just hearing the sounds and sounding it out. And when they go to their stations, they're actually using that and writing it down and putting it together.
We're reading good and we're sounding out words. So we can get in first grade and second grade. We build words so we can be smart so we can go to high school then college. Because I can know my words and read anything.
We have a couple graphic organizers that they're using today, and they're creating those within their groups. One of the stations where they're sounding out the words, one of the children will be a recorder where they're actually putting the sounds together and creating words, so they're making that themselves. And at the reading station, children have roles where one is the setting, one is the character, and one is the problem and solution, and each child is contributing to that product. I feel like my students will respond well to this activity that we've chose today. It's fun, it's engaging, they're interacting, and they're learning to collaborate with each other within groups. It is very satisfying for me to see them growing up in kindergarten, to see how far they've come, and to know that when they leave here, they can be productive, lifelong learners by knowing how to do these things.
So as you can see, Ms. Sellers has helped us redefine the term working lunch and actually has extended her instructional day with her kindergartners by about 30 minutes a day by doing this interactive lunch with literacy. You notice she had literacy stations, and they work on phonics, comprehension, listening, writing, as well as technology. It is standard-based decisions that lead her to individualized instruction to meet the needs of those kids. She also used graphic organizers as well as collaborative groups with her students and them having roles. And at this time, we'd ask Ms. Sellers to please come forward. And she also has with her principal, Mr. Askia Kirby.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm glad you get to see what we're doing in our classrooms, because it is truly wonderful what these kids can do.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
I wanted to ask you one quick question, but I wasn't fast enough. I was wondering how often she tells them not to talk with their mouth full.
You need to visit her classroom during that time. It is a wonderful experience. We had a third video tonight. It is from Brunswick County Academy, but Ms. Gaffney could not be here, so she asked that we postpone it and show it when she could actually be at the meeting. So we will play that at another time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, Ms. Sellers, kindergarten has changed a lot over the years, from you doing an interactive lunch to me remembering when kindergartners had to take a 30-minute nap and the teacher assistants having to hold them down on those mats because they didn't want to be there. So, so things have changed quite a bit. Now we move to the agenda. Board members, you have your agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda for tonight? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Miller makes a motion to approve the
I'll
amendment.
second.
Second, Mr. Thompson. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that's approved. Also, we have copies of the minutes. Any corrections to the minutes? So we have minutes of the regular meeting last month, February 7, the February 21st Operations Committee, Finance and HR, Curriculum and Policy, and the special call meeting on the architects. So can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for February 7th, 21, 21, 21, 27 for regular, special call meeting and committee meetings.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Ms. Milligan seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that's, the minutes are approved. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Miller makes a motion to approve this consent agenda, the
This is
consent
my turn.
items. Excuse me.
It's my turn to second? Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
second.
Mr. Thompson, second. All
Go
in
ahead,
favor
ping pong.
of the approving the consent items, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the consent items are approved. Action items for approval. Ms. Swinsky, if you would review for us the 2 calendars that were presented to the board, please.
So, good evening. So, I want to start by sharing the fact that we are incredibly empathetic and really appreciate the working relationship that we have with the Board of Elections. And so, what I'm sharing with you this evening is wrought out of the same conversation that board members heard me say last year. We are trying to make lemonade out of lemons, which is the North Carolina calendar law. Lawmakers are currently in session, and we hope that they will listen to the educators and to the boards who are appealing for at least some flexibility in what we are required to do within the current calendar law legislation. So 2 calendars were presented during committee. The calendar that was brought forward is the recommendation of the calendar committee in Brunswick County, which is representative of our Teacher Advisory Council, as well as feedback and input from the school improvement teams, the staffs, and the parent advisory councils at all schools in Brunswick County. And this was a struggle when we discussed this, because certainly our calendar committee recognizes the challenges that we have with our elections and on election day. As a standing practice, we put the election day on our calendar as a work day. And when we did that this school year, what we realized is that election day on November 8th falls during the exact same week as Veterans Day, which is the only holiday that we must actually celebrate on the day of Veterans Day. We do not have flexibility to observe Veterans Day on any other day other than November the 11th, I think is the date. So when that I'm sorry, it's the 10th. So when that information was shared, we ended up drafting 2 calendars. Draft one was no election day, and draft 2 included election day. Both of those calendars were presented back in the arenas that we have available, and the feedback came back to the committee that they would like us to present draft 1, which did not include election day. So what you have was the draft, which did not include election day. And
When you say did not include election day, you mean as a work day?
as a work day,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
So as a day, students would not be in our schools. And that was simply because election day falls on Tuesday, the 7th, and then that would also require students to then be out on Friday, the 10th. So that would be 2 days during the course of the week. Students would come Monday, be out Tuesday, come Wednesday, Thursday, and then be out Friday. And what we know from our past experience, that means is that students will not come on Monday because of parents taking an opportunity for a long travel weekend. So we felt, and the committee's recommendation was that recognizing that there are challenges with the election process, that that the board approve calendar 1, which again, even in of itself, is limited to 4 work days during the course of the actual time frame that we have between the required start date and the required end date of our school year. So that is draft 1 for the traditional calendar. Would you like to entertain questions on the traditional calendar?
I want to ask one thing, Sarah Stewart. How many schools would this affect?
In the November election, we will utilize 2 schools.
Which
and,
would be
Belleville Elementary and Wheeling Middle School. And in the primary in May, we'll add to that Virginia Williamson. That location's not open for municipal.
St. James.
The precinct is called Mosquito.
We
Yeah,
remember seeing
that's
that.
St. James.
Because that's one that used to be the fire department.
Yes.
Mhm.
They don't do the election there, so they incorporate it.
Now you made another one, St. James.
Yes.
Private
So that
gated
one was
community.
split, yeah.
So you're talking 3 schools.
Mr. Tubb, also, I believe you may have spoken to the high school principals about the ending of school on this calendar situation.
Yes, sir. They chose to, or their recommendation was that we maintain the workday in the February time frame and not move that workday to the last of school, because what ends up happening if we move the workday, and I realize that the last day of school and graduation starts almost simultaneously. I mean, it really does. But what would end up happening is if we put the workday there at the last day of school, and then we would end up having a split weekend for the testing program. You would have to start testing on the Friday and have it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, rather than having the testing all in one week. What also happens is that if there are seniors who are taking a test on that last day, Mr. Cheers and the testing coordinators work with the schools to move that particular test up into the week so that the testing calendar, so that the seniors are not being tested on that last day. And that gives the teachers who are working on the graduation pieces that opportunity. But we have found in the past that when you split the testing over the weekend, you lose kids on Friday and you lose kids on Monday. Whereas if we put all the testing one after the other, we get better results, better attendance, and better opportunities for the students.
Mr. Tubb, I'd also like to add that the 8th, which is that Friday, is the makeup exam day.
Yeah.
So it would be restricted to students who are just in need of making up the exams from the prior days.
Well,
So,
if they can live with it, I can live with it, so.
Have to live with it if we got a little bit of flexibility
I know.
by some changes in the North Carolina calendar law. And so we're going to aggressively continue to have those conversations, because it is a calendar like this and the one that we've lived with this year that impacts student achievement. There's no question about it. It impacts student achievement. And then you throw in a Hurricane Matthew, and then you have other, and I'm waiting for the spring storm that we always get. Everybody in this area knows we'll have another hard freeze before this is all said and done. And so it just creates so much anxiety with teachers and with our families and our students about what will happen.
I mean, like after Matthew, right now, we have no work day to fall back on. I mean, it'll impact spring vacation is what'll happen. And generally speaking, Ms. Winsky's right. I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning with Bobby Taylor riding roads somewhere.
I had a chance to speak briefly with you guys before the meeting, and we're willing to advocate with you legislatively because it affects both of us in this regard, and we certainly understand your needs as well.
Well, just for everybody's information, most people here probably would know it, but because we do have a public platform right now, the General Assembly basically creates a specific date to start the school year.
Correct.
And a date to end by.
That's correct.
And within that bookended time frame, we have to insert a school year. And any kind of variation due to abnormal weather conditions or unforeseen circumstances create havoc within that, and we have very little flexibility. And that's what you mean, that we don't have a lot of flexibility.
We don't, and I can capture those numbers for you. So between the bookends of the Monday closest to August the 26th, Monday closest to August, yes, the 26th, and the Friday closest to June 9th, we have 205 possible working days in that bookend. 180 of those are student days. That leaves us 25 days. 10 of those are required annual leave days, which are required for the teacher contract. Leaves us 15 days. And then you add in the 11 required state holidays, literally gives our teachers 4 days, 4 working days.
For all their planning and professional development.
For all of the planning, for professional development, for inclement weather, snafus. It is just simply absurd. There is no other way to put it. So if we really are serious about thinking about how to improve outcomes for children, calendar flexibility would be a really great way for North Carolina to start.
So if the legislature gives us flexibility, we'll have to revisit this anyway.
Yes, sir. We'd be more than happy to call another calendar committee meeting. And I'm not typically the one to say that, but I would love to have the calendar committee come back together this year. That would be great.
Well, this is a kind of a tyranny of the minority here, where we only have 2 schools out of our 19 that Election Day affects. But it turns out that those 2 schools have some of the highest numbers of voters on Election Day, and a track record, a history of conflicts. I'm like Mr. Miller. I don't want to put the voters through it or the students through it in direct conflict. And so I would opt to maintain the workday for the election, and hope and pray that the General Assembly does provide us with some leeway.
So you will put that in the form of a motion?
Well, I was going to make that statement, but what Ms. Swensky said, regardless of the flexibility, I think what you were saying is that you'd still want to go to school on Tuesday on Election Day this year because of the 3-day weekend phenomenon.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And that is the sole reason.
Well,
that
I would
we are-
remind you that people have a duty to send their children to school. So we can't make them do it, but the doors will be open. But I'd make a motion to adopt a calendar. Was it number 2?
Yes, sir.
Calendar number 2.
Do we have a second?
Calendar 2
Calendar
is
2, that would be,
the 3-day student week. November 8th. The one that you have is draft 1. Draft 2 you do not have a copy of, but it simply takes the November 8th or November 7th day. So we would be out this day, right? And we would eliminate, I think this date here.
So start the school will be the 28th, and the ones,
Right, so we would still start school on the required date, which is the 28th, and we would still end on the 9th. The only thing that's changed is the March 30th workday, which is on your draft 1, moves to November the 7th.
okay, and that would put the workday on November 7th.
Yes, sir, and remove
Okay.
it from March the 30th.
And that would take away that graduation piece also on this new calendar.
March 30th. What's your workday on March 30th?
Not on that calendar. It would show up on the calendar 1 as March 30th.
Oh,
Yeah, see, it moves from there to there on that's the calendar difference.
I got you. Yeah, okay.
it's on the weekend, it really crams it.
Well, the end of the calendar doesn't make any difference. I mean, we could do
All right.
either way. The workday being moved from March
I
30th
got
to November, well, I guess that's November 7th. Does that affect us? That doesn't affect the end of the year.
No, it doesn't. No, the only thing we're doing is playing a shell game of using a workday in one day
Right.
on one place versus another place.
That's right.
From March 30 to November 7th.
To November 7th.
Okay.
That's correct.
I do too.
And draft 2. With the date of November 7th in the date, the draft that you have for draft 2 is the recommendation of the committee for the other dates that are in that calendar. So draft 2 was considered with the same.
This date
Correct.
up here to the
Correct.
7th is the motion.
The only change to that would be is that the March on this calendar was a non-required workday. We would request that March 7th be a required workday, and we would utilize that for professional development.
Well, with any luck, we're gonna get a few more days and we can restore the March workday.
That'd be
But,
great.
right now, did we get a second?
Not yet.
Second.
You praying over it? Okay.
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Miller and a motion by Mr. Thompson and a second by Mr. Miller. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. We will update the left-hand column of these calendars, and they will become public information tomorrow. You also, I don't know if you have not approved the early college calendar yet, so that's need a second motion on that, please.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve the early college high school calendar. During committee, it was brought up that it basically reflects the college schedule.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I wish we had the same flexibility
Yes, sir.
as some of the early colleges have.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the early college calendar as presented. We have a second? Second by Mr. Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So that both calendars are approved. We're down to discussions and announcements by the superintendent and board members. Mr. Tubb?
I have several that are not on the agenda here. Friday night, 7 o'clock, is Arts Alive at Odell. It's one of our premier events where our kids show off their talents in the music arena, and our music teachers do such a fantastic job. If you get an opportunity, this is one of our a really, really great evening to spend. Last Saturday night, I had the opportunity and pleasure to go to the West Brunswick High School JROTC ball, and this coming weekend I'll be with the first sergeant and his young people at the JROTC ball again. It'll be at 6:30 down at Sea Trail, and those two aren't on there, but I wanted to talk to you and say those are two opportunities if you would like to take part in them.
Yeah, I'll be there as well, and representing the North End.
All right, we always have a good time at those things.
I'm sorry I've missed the other balls this year. In the past, I've tried to make them all.
Yes, sir. The March committee meetings, we were initially talking about moving the committee meetings to the afternoon, but I think we're going to do a, where's Freya? We're going to do a budget workshop in addition to, so we need to begin at the normal time in the mornings, and I believe, and have those committee meetings in so that we'll have time. Am I correct, Freya?
Yes, a budget work session to go over capital outlay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I believe there was an email that Sue sent out late this afternoon that you may not have received.
No, I was over at QAR.
We'd like to schedule interviews for construction manager at risk in the afternoon. So it'd be the same setup as we use for architect interviews.
Okay.
Well, I'd also like to point out that the reason they have to do that is the 16th, we're going to be having a meeting.
Right, that was the next, one of the next ones I was going to talk about.
But while we're on that subject, I know the 21st will be eaten up because it's going to end up all day. I kind of agree that our committee meetings, we might need to look at the timing of when we're doing those generally.
Yes, sir, somewhere at 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock for the committee meetings, starting in the April time frame. I know several of you work, and that will give you an opportunity not to be with us, but also it would help you, I think, in your everyday work, and that your schedule would be a little bit simpler than the way we have it right now.
Well, I'll just have to adjust my nap time to earlier in the morning.
He's back in kindergarten.
Well, with three board members who work full-time,
It's difficult.
it's very
It's difficult,
It's
right.
difficult to expect them to get off work.
Right. And for our people too, it'll work for us. I mean, you know, we can set some time limits on it and be productive at the same
Mr.
time. and
Thompson
get
will
things.
just have to be shorter in his statements.
I'll bring the clock with me.
That wasn't a motion, Mr. Miller.
Of course, you see the April board meetings on April the 4th. But the one prior to that is the county PAC meeting, Parent Advisory Council meeting. We're moving from the north end down to the Brunswick Community College Events Center like it took place last Parent Advisory. Several reasons. Number one, space availability from the previous location to the Brunswick Community College Events College Event Center. But secondly, and more importantly, we're going to show a film starting at 5 o'clock on languages and the importance of languages, and how that helps with students and with adults, and how we learn through languages. And I know we have discussed this, and one of the priority items that we have on our budget worksheet right now, we don't know if we'll be able to fund, is how do we expand foreign languages in our classrooms, starting at the middle school and moving up. And this particular film that we want to show just reinforces the importance of what foreign languages do for those of us in the school system, but more importantly, those young people who will be moving into a very, very cosmopolitan, global environment when they leave high school and leave college. So that's why we made that move. There's an additional one, March the 16th at 4:45. The Brunswick Community College Board of Trustees would like for you and I to meet with them and the cabinet, to have dinner and to just to talk about some real interesting things that are happening, not only with them, but probably with us, and how it impacts what will be taking place in our schools. County commissioners, if you have not heard, last night voted to put extra dollars into the Brunswick Community College Foundation so that a number of our young people will have the opportunity, and this is for 3 years, will have an opportunity to go to Brunswick Community College and not pay any tuition monies. And they graduate and they move over to the community college, and that's something that I alluded to in a committee meeting or a board, I think the last board meeting, something that they have been working with, and I know our county commissioners have been working on. And this college and career promise that we're talking about just enables us, as we're looking through this, what our cabinet and I are calling the Vision 2030, where we want to go in Brunswick County with this K-14 agenda for moving our kids from the kindergarten, high school graduation into programs at the community college, and the community college being able to provide those scholarships, a large number of scholarships to a number of students when they graduate. So that will be an interesting meeting, and would like for you to discuss this, or tell me if you can or can't individually or collectively right now, and I will hand you a worksheet, maybe some possible topics that you would like for them to discuss versus some topics that we would like for them to answer to us about.
Well, that's great news. I think our students and our boys and girls in Brunswick County are fortunate that our commissioners and the community college are willing to work together to do that. So I think that's a great tribute.
I think that, Jessica, isn't it the 16th that we're going to do a joint press release or something?
You're hoping it to be on Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, Tuesday of next week.
Tuesday at 2 with the commissioners, with the president, and with Mr. Tubb, and we just received information about that today, so of course.
That was after 3 o'clock this afternoon. And Mike Forte called me about this at 4 o'clock and said, I've got great news. I don't have the real specifics on how the selection of students will take place, but it will be the majority of our students that graduate will have the opportunity to go to Brunswick Community College for the 2 years tuition free.
That's great.
That's awesome.
And we've been working with them also as we're developing programs to help with online courses to help our students also.
So we'll look forward to seeing everybody on the 16th.
Okay, so I'll pass these out a little bit later, and you can just pass them to me whenever, email me about topics.
Any other items?
That's all I have at this time for here.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we enter closed session pursuant to the listed statutes in the minutes or the agenda here.
We have a motion to go to closed session by Mr. Thompson. Second? second by Ms. Milligan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved.